to talk about today is my biggest fear, like, ever. Um, Now, not a lot of people know this. Only, like, my close friends know this because, it's really embarrassing and I can't. It's just, like, the most ridiculous fear, so I'm told. But honestly, like, after this video, I think you will feel for me and understand why I'm terrified of what I'm terrified of. This one fear has been with me for, like, years now, and, like, anytime, like, someone I got goosebumps right now, like, I don't know if you can see, probably not, but, like, anytime I think of it or, like, someone talks about it, like, I get the biggest goosebumps, but I'm freaking terrified. Okay, so, the suspense. That was my attempt at a drum roll. Okay, I'm absolutely terrified of icebergs. Yeah, those things, those white things that float in the water out in the Atlantic and, like, Arctic. Yeah, I'm terrified of icebergs. Now, when I tell people this, I don't think they understand the extent I'm afraid. Like, this is a legit phobia. Like, oh, I have goosebumps. Like, anytime I talk about it, I get goosebumps. And, like, it's just not normal. And, oh, they're terrifying. And I mean, like, alright, here's an example. So, like, one time I was watching a documentary on icebergs, and it was like, yeah, every hour an iceberg travels, like, 10 meters and stuff. And, like, you're gonna be like, wow, like, that's not a lot, 10 meters in an hour. But to me, I was like, the fact that it, like, drifts and stuff and, like, moves all around, like, terrifies me. And it just, like, ever since that documentary, like, I, like, started, like, hyperventilating, and I was like, oh my goodness, like, I'm terrified. Like, and, like, the thing that freaks me out the most is, like, the way it's, like, smaller on top and, like, huge at the bottom. Like, I don't know, like, it terrifies me. Like, I've touched an iceberg once, and I was in Scotland, and it was in a museum, but, like, it was big, but I don't know. Yeah, and you're probably like, so, like, how many times have you actually been face to face with real icebergs? Let me tell you, there's been times where I've been faced with them, and, like, just randomly, and I've had to, like, calm myself down. The first time was that documentary I talked about. Another time I was flying to Europe, and we were flying, like, just near Greenland, and there was a field of icebergs, okay? And I'm not afraid of flying, but I was like, if this plane goes down, like, I'm not even worried about the water. Like, I'm terrified of the icebergs. Like, I was legitimately, like, almost in tears. Like, I was, like, shaking, and I'm, like, freaking out, and I was by myself on the plane, so, like, I had no one to calm me down. I just had to, like, close my window so I couldn't see the icebergs. Another time, actually, was this year. I was at a museum of natural history in Ottawa, and I was walking through the museum, and I went off from, like, my group. I went with, like, one of my profs from school, and a bunch of people from my class, because we had a really tiny class. It's, like, a seminar class. So anyway, I went off on my own because everyone, like, left the museum, and I was like, man, like, I've never been here. I want to look around. So I went into this room, and there was no one in there. So I was like, this is weird. Like, no one's in here. And I closed the door, and then what am I surrounded by but, like, literally, like, 30 feet high icebergs. Like, fake icebergs, but I started hyperventilating, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. And they're all around me, and there was, like, stuffed polar bears and stuff, because I guess it was, like, to show Arctic, I don't know. But I was freaking out, and then this, like, person, like, walked in, and I was just standing there, like, and this person walked in and was like, are you okay? Like, and I'm like, like, I did not want to tell the person I was scared of icebergs because I feel like a big, like, loser, but, like, terrified. So then I, like, texted my friend, and I was like, oh my god, like, I forget who I texted. I took a picture of them, and I'm like, I just came in here, and, like, I can't move right now, and I'm so scared. I don't want to go through them, because, like, the way I got in was through, like, an iceberg thing, and I didn't really pay attention on the way in, so, like, I had to go out through the icebergs, and I was like, holy shit, like, I do not want to go through here, but eventually, like, talked myself into getting out of there, so yeah. So then, I tried to train myself into not being scared of icebergs, so I decided I'd go on YouTube and look up a bunch of like iceberg videos. No, that did not work. That only made me like a million times more scared than I was. I found out that like 2 years ago there's this massive iceberg that was floating towards Australia, and I was like, and one of my fears, like all my friends are like, why are you scared of icebergs? Like, what are you afraid they're gonna do? Like, and I'm like, man, I'm scared they're gonna crash into land. And I was talking to one of my friends the other day, and he's like, Becca, if they crash into land, like, they're just gonna crash into land. Like, what are they gonna do? I'm like, but if someone's looking at at the cliff, they're gonna fall down and drown, or like land on the iceberg, which is even worse than drowning to me. And like, I don't know. And I'm like, or there could be waves. And he's like, you live in the middle of Canada. Like, I don't think you have to worry about icebergs. And I'm like, okay. But then the other day on the radio, I was like driving on my way to work, and I was listening to the radio, and it was like there was this giant iceberg that has been like, I forget, like it broke off from like a big ice thing, and they're like, it's been coming for a year, and now it's like near the Atlantic coast of Canada, like I think near Newfoundland, and they said it's the size of Manhattan Island, and I was like, holy tits, like I'm terrified, like I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Like, all I can think of is, like, the icebergs are coming to get me. Like, I feel like there's going to be, like, an iceberg army, and they're all going to, like, attack me, and, like, sounds a little ridiculous, but, like, when you think of the massive size of that iceberg, it's terrifying. Then another legitimate fear is global warming and icebergs, because that shit is going to melt and flood us all, and we're all going to drown. It's going to be awful. Ugh. One time I went caving, too, and there was, like, glaciers in the caves, like, ice cave, and I was like, this is, like, the sister of icebergs. Like, this is not, it's not an iceberg, but it's pretty damn close. And I'm, like, down underground, no easy way to escape. I have to go through, like, this little hole to get out of here, and I'm surrounded by the sister of all icebergs. Like, holy crap. I was terrified. But yeah, like, icebergs are a legitimate fear, and I challenge anyone to think about it. And if anyone's actually legitimately scared of icebergs, please let me know, because I've yet to meet anyone. And also, there's no phobia, like, named for icebergs. I've looked it up because I'm legitimately pretty positive I have a phobia of icebergs. Like, I'm actually terrified to ever be near one. And I'm planning a trip to go sea kayaking in a couple of years just so I can get over my fear. But I think I would probably cry. Like, I've cried because of icebergs before. It's really embarrassing. No. Bye, thanks for watching, and subscribe, because I have 8 lovely subscribers. That's exciting. You know, I'm gonna be doing, like, going to London in a couple weeks, gonna do something. Oh yeah, another thing, I wanna go on London Bridge and sing Fergie's, you know, how come every time you don't come around my London Bridge. Yeah, I wanna sing that song, London Bridge, because, like, that's, like, a life goal of mine. Yeah, I have no life.